Imagine walking out of your front door tomorrow morning. No clothes. No shoes. Nothing. Just you, exactly as nature made you. Now imagine that this is completely normal. Nobody stares. Nobody cares. Because nobody in the entire world wears clothes. Not a single person. Not anywhere. This sounds like a joke. But for most of early human history, this was actually reality. Today we are asking one of the most fascinating questions in all of human history. What if ancient humans never stopped being naked? What if we never developed the habit of covering our bodies? How different would the world look today? The answer is more shocking than you think. Let us start at the very beginning. Early humans, our ancient ancestors from hundreds of thousands of years ago, were completely naked. Not because they were rebellious. Not because they were shameless. Simply because clothes had not been invented yet. These early humans lived in warm African climates. They had body hair for basic protection. They slept in trees or on the ground. They hunted, gathered food, and survived all without a single piece of clothing on their bodies. And for a very long time, this worked perfectly fine. So when did everything change? When did humans first start covering their bodies? Scientists believe that humans first started wearing clothing somewhere between 100,000 and 500,000 years ago. The exact date is impossible to know because clothing rots and disappears, unlike bones and stones which survive for millions of years. But here is what we do know. The reason humans started wearing clothes was not modesty. It was not shame. It was not fashion. It was survival. As ancient humans began migrating out of warm Africa into colder regions of Europe and Asia, they faced a terrifying new problem. Cold. Real cold. Deadly cold. The kind of cold that kills you in hours if you have no protection. Animal skins and furs became the first clothing. Not to hide the body, but to keep the body alive. So now the fascinating question, what if they never made that choice? What if ancient humans stayed in warm climates and never needed clothes? What if the habit of covering the body never developed? First, the human body itself would look very different today. Right now, humans have very little body hair compared to other primates like chimpanzees and gorillas. Scientists believe we lost most of our body hair because our ancestors started wearing clothes and no longer needed natural insulation. If humans never wore clothes, we would likely have kept much more body hair. Thick, dark body hair covering most of our bodies. Like our primate cousins. Our bodies would have evolved to protect themselves naturally through hair rather than relying on external clothing. Second, the concept of shame and modesty would not exist. Today, in almost every culture on Earth, showing the naked body in public is considered deeply inappropriate. Children are taught from a very young age to cover themselves. Nakedness is associated with vulnerability, shame, and sexuality. But none of this would exist in a world where humans never developed clothing. There would be no concept of nudity because nudity would simply be the normal state of every human being at all times. Throughout history, there have actually been cultures where nudity was completely normal and accepted. Ancient Sparta, the warrior civilization of Greece, trained their young warriors completely naked. Ancient Egyptian farmers worked naked in the hot sun without any shame. Many indigenous tribes around the world still live with minimal or no clothing today, and for them there is no shame attached to it whatsoever. The shame around nudity is not natural. It is learned. It is cultural. It was created by humans, and without clothing, it never would have been created at all. Third, human civilization would look completely different. This might surprise you. But clothing actually played a massive role in the development of human civilization. Think about it. Once humans had clothing, they could survive in cold climates. This allowed ancient humans to spread across Europe, Asia, and eventually the Americas. Entire new civilizations developed in regions that would have been completely uninhabitable without warm clothing. Without clothing, humans would likely have stayed concentrated in warm tropical and subtropical regions. The northern parts of Europe, Asia, and the Americas might never have been colonized. history would have taken a completely different path. Fourth, the entire global economy would not exist as we know it. The textile industry, the business of making and selling clothing, is one of the largest industries in the entire world. It employs hundreds of millions of people. From cotton farmers in India to fashion designers in Paris. From factory workers in Bangladesh to luxury brand executives in New York. Without clothing, none of this exists. The entire global supply chain built around fabric, thread, dye, design, and fashion simply disappears. Entire economies collapse. Entire cities built around textile production cease to exist. Fifth, art, culture, and identity would be completely different. Think about what clothing means to humans beyond just physical protection. Clothing is identity. It tells others who you are, where you come from, what you believe, and what group you belong to. Military uniforms, religious robes, wedding dresses, school uniforms, national costumes, all of these use clothing to communicate something deeper than just temperature regulation. Without clothing, humans would have found other ways to express identity. Perhaps through body paint. Through tattoos. Through elaborate hairstyles or jewelry. Ancient cultures that did live with minimal clothing often used these alternatives extensively. But the entire concept of fashion, of clothes as status, as beauty, as self-expression, would simply not exist. Sixth, the human relationship with the body would be fundamentally different. Today, the beauty industry built around how bodies look in clothes is worth trillions of dollars. Diet culture, gym culture, fashion culture, all of it is built on the idea that bodies need to be shaped, hidden, enhanced, or displayed through clothing in specific ways. Without clothing, the human body would simply be the human body. All shapes. All sizes. All completely visible. All completely normal. Could you imagine living in that world? Walking to work. Going to school. Eating at a restaurant. All completely naked. And nobody thinking anything of it. For our ancient ancestors, this was simply Tuesday. The decision to cover our bodies changed everything. It changed where we could live. It changed how we saw ourselves and each other. It created entire industries, entire cultures, entire concepts of shame and beauty that would not have existed otherwise. All from one simple choice, to cover up. Would you want to live in a world without clothes? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to explore more fascinating what-if questions about ancient human life, subscribe to MythosMinder and hit the bell icon. Next time we explore another incredible lost truth from the ancient world. Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.